Hi, I'm Neil Bonnett with this really deep thought. If you're a winner, you watch winners. Hey, I should get an Emmy for that, and I just might. In every form of racing, quick reflexes are nearly as important as the speed they generate, whether it's getting to the front of the pack or getting out of somebody's way. There's no place where reflexes are quite as critical as in drag racing. Today, you'll meet a man with incredibly quick reflexes that make him unique in this sport. And he can win in one class, jump out and run to another, and win in that one too. He is Pat Austin, drag racing's most amazing winner.
Winners is brought to you by Fram Filter Products. Fram, you can pay a little now or a lot later. And Autolite spark plugs and wire and cable products. Autolite spark plugs, guaranteed for 2 years no matter how far you go.
About this, stock car drivers and Indy car drivers get to come up to speed gradually behind the pace car. No such deal for these dragsters. Just imagine, from 0 to 290 miles an hour in 5 seconds.
I try to look at that light, and I try to see the electricity come in the backside of the ball before it gets to the light. And as soon as I see anything flicker, I mean, it's amazing to me that I haven't left on somebody's camera light bulb, you know, because I mean, I'm that intense to where if that's going to happen, I mean, if I see anything move there, I'm gone. And I try to stay focused on it. There's 3 bulbs in the middle of the tree. Once your 2 pre-stage and stage lights are on, there's 3 bulbs, and I try to stay very focused on those 3 bulbs. And if I see anything, any flicker or anything, I'm gone.
Gone is an understatement. Over the last 5 seasons on the NHRA circuit, Pat Austin has nearly twice as many wins as the man in second place. Ed McCullough, Don Prudhomme, Kenny Bernstein, and Joe Amato. They're not even close in victories to the guy they call Top Gun.
I do admire the kid. I think he's done a great job. I followed his career. You know, now he's in Top Fuel. He's quite a competitor, obviously. He's already won a couple of races.
I like Don Prudhomme a lot because I've watched him and I've heard about him, and I kind of compare him a lot to, I kind of compare myself to him as far as the way he competes. He's not the kind of guy that's going to come up and shake your hand before he races you, because he wants to beat you. Sure, that's a friendly gesture to go up and say, hey, good luck. I think the talking needs to be done at the other end of the track. And I think he's a lot that way. To watch him race, I see a lot of him in me, and I mean, I'll see a lot of me and him. You know, he does that stuff, and I'm thinking, boy, this guy's really competitive too.
Pat Austin, too, has become part of NHRA history. He has won in his alcohol funny car, changed uniforms, hopped on the back of his motor scooter, and then climbed into his Top Fuel dragster and won that race, all at the same event. This fresh-faced kid out of the Great Northwest became the first driver ever to win in both classes. It happened in Topeka, Kansas.
After I went through in Topeka with the alcohol car and won the race, I says, boy, we got another chance. We got another chance. Can't let this get away. And I got in the fuel car, and I was determined to get past that burnout. And we got past that burnout, and I said to myself, boy, we still got a chance. We got a chance. And I'm in the car saying this to myself. And we were racing the world champ at that time, Joe Amato, who is the toughest guy out there to beat nowadays in the Top Fuel class. And I says, boy, I gotta get out of here in front of him. And I waited, and it just had turned a little dark. And when it gets a little dark outside, those lights and the Christmas tree, you can really, you know, hit the tree pretty hard. And when those lights came on, I was gone, and I cut a 407 light, and he cut a good light. It's just that the car ran good that time too, and we outran him and left on him and did just what you want to do when you win your first race in the Top Fuel class. And got down in the track, and I went all the way to the last turnoff, so there was nobody around, no TV cameras, no reporters or anything. And I was by myself, and I just took my helmet off, and I sat there, and I just said, wow, we've just done something that nobody else has done. From my alcohol car to the Top Fuel car, I mean, it really wasn't much of a difference. The only difference is there's a quicker throttle response, which you can get, experience will get used to that, and the noise. I mean, you go up there and you hit the doggone throttle, I mean, it's like World War III went off, you know? I mean, it's bang, and the alcohol car is loud. I'm behind it, and the headers are going out around me, but the nitro car, the motor's behind me, so you wouldn't think it's that loud. But I'm telling you, it's loud. And it's very intense when you're sitting there and the chassis shaking so hard in idle that this thing is really popping hard. That's the thing that got my most attention. Driving, it wasn't a problem, really. I had some little problems early on, but the thing that got me was the noise. I mean, it's just so good. I mean, it sounds so good for so loud.
He is 27 years old. Pat Austin appreciates what he's been able to achieve so fast. But it also seems fast has been a part of the Austin family forever.
They usually went back and put 10 pounds on this thing because it was closed.
That took place at Pomona. While the Austin team was trying to juggle their two-car act, the funny car comes up too light during inspection. It's a wonder this sort of thing doesn't happen all the time. Most of these teams have enough trouble worrying about just one entry. But Walt Austin, father, owner, and team leader, he loves it.
The alcohol car is a lot of fun to race. I enjoy it a lot. They're a little different than the top fuel car in a lot of respects, and then the other thing, the theory's all the same. But he decided that he was going to be a professional racer, and somewhere down the road we had to make that move. So when the Ormsby deal became available, it was probably a year or two ahead of when we really wanted to make that move, but the opportunity was there, so we had to seize it. And then drag racing, the top of the line is top fuel dragster. That's the king of the sport.
Pat's opportunity to drive that king of the sport came when the Austins bought the late Gary Ormsby's top fuel team. It was an opportunity that Pat couldn't pass up. The chance to compete in the cars that he watched his dad master when he was growing up.
Well, we run a top gas dragster for years, and we won a lot of races. Didn't do the traveling that we do today or anything, but back in the mid-60s, probably from 59 to about 67, top gas dragsters were a big part of the sport, and we had 30 some of those up in the Northwest here, and we would race 2-3 times a week.
He had a little shop. Matter of fact, we're sitting in the shop right now. It used to be where he used to keep his race car, and I just grew up around it. And he involved me and my brother and basically the whole family, my sister also, taking us to the races when he could, and just keeping us involved in something and not letting us just run around and goof off all the time. He always just kept us involved.
Us was Pat and his older brother Mike, who's now in charge of the motors in Pat's racing machines.
It's just like when we were playing football, we'd be on opposite teams, we were competitive, and then when we were racing just pedal bikes, I was Don the Snake Berdome, he was McEwen, and yeah, all the stuff we were rivals at, but we've always helped each other to become better at what we did.
Throughout their youth, the Austin boys were coached by their father in racing, in football and baseball, and in life. While most teenagers would rather leave Dad at home, with the Austin men, a very strong bond was developed.
I look at the environment that I grew up in, and I don't see how anybody in their right mind could not want to be around my dad. I mean, sure, sometimes he was strict, but I mean, it was all for the better. And you have your problems, but he just he's a fun person to be around. The first thing, when you're out doing something, you're going to do it the best that you can do it. And when we go drag racing, he has us prepared the best that we can be to go drag racing. And it was the same true when I was growing up. He didn't have a lot of money early on, and they did some things that they had to, one time I wanted a clarinet to play in the band, and they really didn't know if they had enough money to get it, but he scrounged up enough money and got it. And I was, I quit 2 weeks later in the band, so that didn't go over real well.
Pat's mom, Sharon, rounds out the Austin racing team. She not only picks up all the loose ends and supervises the logistics and gets the men fed, but she provides a shoulder for Pat to lean on.
She's the light of my life, and when things get tough and you're really down, I mean, you just make one phone call to my mom, and it's, she takes care of you, and she makes you feel good. When you're out on the road like we are, and sometimes you really need somebody to talk to, I can always count on my mom.
I just tell him to try to do the best he can, and that we're all behind him, and I know the pressure's hard on him, but he'll just go out there and do the best you can.
Walt didn't really want Pat driving dragsters, but he knew instinctively that it was in the Austin blood, and so he made him earn the right.
I felt it was very important if he was going to race that he understood the race car, and I wanted him to be able to take it apart and put it back together, or any of the type of maintenance work you have to do on a car. I think it's very important. Not the only thing, but it does help, I think, a driver to understand the car. And particularly in drag racing, the guy that, if he's going to make a living doing that, he needs to be an expert at all parts of the race car for several reasons, but one is he doesn't have to be dependent on somebody else to make his race car run.
I got to where I could do everything on the car, and we didn't have, when we first started racing, we had to send stuff out and get it done. And, you know, once we started at it full time, I got to where we didn't have to send anything out. And we did everything in-house pretty much, you know, that we could do. And I really liked that a lot, but there was something missing. I mean, I'd go to the races and I'd have a good time, and I would really enjoy myself, but there was something that I wanted to do, and that was to get in one of those funny cars. And now I'm very fortunate to get in a funny car and a dragster, but and I like them both a lot, but I still like to work on them, and I still like to be involved in the tune-up. You know, I want to know what's going to make the car do what this next run, and my brother's the same way.
And my dad's philosophy is he'd rather have a driver that has worked on a car because they know what the car's going to do. And then we started getting involved in the racing, and it was hard to take time out to let me try to drive. I mean, I want to drive someday, but I'm in no big hurry. I like what I'm doing, and I don't want to screw up the team right now because you just don't really have time to go out and do that.
So Mike settled for making the Austin legend run, just as he had since they put the team together 6 years ago. That quick success is a tribute to his work, as well as Pat's driving. As you might expect, Pat will never forget that first win there in Baton Rouge.
I can remember racing a guy named Chuck Phelps in the final round. We were both running real close together, and he was a good driver, and I knew that we had to get off the starting line first, and we got off the starting line first, and it was a good race. We were side by side, and we got there first and won our first national event. And it was very, I mean, I kind of was in shock because I didn't know that what we had done is just something a lot of people have worked 20 years for and never done. And we won our first national event, and very exciting. I mean, my dad, my brother, I mean, there's tears in our eyes because you've done something together, and you've been able to do what a lot of people can't do, and that's win one national event. That's how hard these races are to win. There's a lot of racers out there in the world, and a lot of them don't get to win races. And to do it with my dad, my brother, and you know, my family, that means that all families don't argue and fight and go their own ways. You know, we did something together. I think it's any part of racing is trying to stay ahead of the next guy, and I think that's what makes racing so exciting. In all forms of racing is that you know that you've got to come out with something better than they do, and so we try to do that. And I think that just over the years that we've been lucky in certain ways, but we've also been good as far as getting horsepower to the ground, and we know how to make horsepower here, and but so do a lot of other people, and. It's just a matter of keeping focused on what you want. You know, you got to all have common goals, and our common goal is to win a world championship.
And he's won 4 of those, the first coming in only his second full season of competition. A moment that will live in Pat Austin's soul forever.
I mean, we're talking a party. I mean, we had a good time. We just, at the World Finals when the year's over, and you know you won the World Championship, it was just very exciting, and it makes you just happy to be part of something that's this big. And I felt that, just personally, I felt that I was just glad to be associated with the people that I'm associated with, to be part of that. And I deep down in my stomach, I felt that this was the start of something great.
World championships are one thing, but being a part of history is something else. Pat Austin is still a youngster, and yet he is the winningest funny car driver in history. He either holds by himself or is tied with another driver for 19 NHRA records. But the one everybody continues to marvel at is winning in both alcohol funny cars and Top Fuel. That chance first came when Team Castrol offered him the late Gary Ormsby's rear-engine dragster in August of '91.
When the decision was made, we had just come out with an Oldsmobile Hemi motor at that time, which we'd been working on for 2 years, and just had come out, so it was hard to say stop, you know. It was hard to stop, and so we looked at it as, can we do both? So then there's double duty on my dad, there's Mike's over there full time. The big question is, will it mess up me driving? Well, the last 5 races of last year didn't seem to mess me up too bad. We did okay. We did good, actually.
While Mike and Walt faced the mind-boggling challenge of keeping both cars competitive, Pat's role was shifting gears mentally.
The alcohol car, you have to, you know, you have to bring the RPMs up when you're staging the car. You bring them up to 5,000. You have to load the clutch a little bit, and you have to let the clutch out and smash the gas at the same time. And then you're going down the track, you have to shift into 2nd gear, and you have to shift into 3rd gear. The nitro car, all your work is done at the starting line. I mean, you put the first top light on, you turn your computer and your clutch management system on, you turn both pumps on, and you let your foot off the clutch, and the clutch will drag the motor down a little bit, and the car will creep into the beams. You just control it with the brake. And so all the work's done at that point in time. All you do is hit the gas, and you just hold on. And as far as driving them both, the dragster's really easy to steer because it's all the weight's in the back and not in the front. The funny car, you have to steer it. You have to get after it a little bit. And, that's pretty much, there's not much of a difference. I think, if anything, that the 2-car deal will help you as a driver if you can concentrate on what you have to do going down the track. On the Christmas tree, I think it's a gain because you get a chance to try doing better than what you did the time before. And if anybody does, the more they do something, the better they're going to get. So I think it's a gain.
He spent 4 or 5 years driving that alcohol car. Now, it may sound strange, but the alcohol cars probably takes more driving skill than the Top Fuel car. But he has always had a natural ability to drive race cars. Even the guys on the fuel car, I think sometimes they're amazed at the feel he has for the car, but it was the same feel he had for the alcohol funny car. He just seems to be a natural driver, and a very good one.
Pat Austin is a winner, and he really wanted to be the first dragster to go 300 miles per hour. Kenny Bernstein beat him to it. That was one he didn't win. It could give you an attitude, but just listen to this attitude on winning.
A guy who works hard, pushes himself to the ultimate at what he's doing, and walks out of there with a trophy. And, a perfect role model for me and a winner is my dad. Started with nothing, with his dad in his business. Did what it took to make the business come around, and he went from 1 shop to 24 shops to 6 nationwide warehouses, and to raise 3 healthy and happy kids, and stay married for 27 or 29 years now. And there's more to life than just winning, and that's being happy and successful and achieve your goals, and I think he's done all of that. So he's a role model winner for me.
There's a lot of things, I think, that make a winner, and it's kind of hard to put it into words, but bottom line, I think a guy needs to be organized, know what he's trying to accomplish, and how he's going to do it, and be willing to work hard enough to make all those things happen.
When I listen to that father and son chit-chat, all I can say is if they never take another checkered flag, which of course they will, that's a family of winners. And we'll see you next week, and we'll be rocking and rolling right here in Hueytown.
Winners has been brought to you by Autolite Spark Plugs and Wire and Cable Products. Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years no matter how far you go. And Fram Filter Products. Fram, you can pay a little now or a lot later.
Next week on Winners, Bobby Rahal tells us what Jim Truman meant to his racing career and how life changed after his Indy 500 victory.
How you doing?